Good to have you guys here. And if you need anything along the way, just put it in the chat, and I can I'll pick it up. I can see the chat right now, and might as well. Any questions, anything you want to know, we'll get going on that. Wonderful. Thank you for coming. Let me start. So I wanted to make this session about lengthening your fuse, and I'll tell you all about what that is, but really how to deal with life better, how to have more patience, more boldness, more creativity, more wisdom, be more proud of your reactions, your decisions. A lot of you wanted tips, guidance, I don't know, a webinar on stress, workload, work-life balance, perspective, and that's basically what I wanted to give. So yeah, without further ado, so there's two management approaches, two approaches to dealing with life, and you can try and carpet the world, control the externals, control the boss, the commute, the family, the partner, the health perfectly, and you can do some of that, but you can't do all of it. Or you can make yourself some shoes. And this is what the approach of this webinar is going to be about, is really control the controllables, certainly, but then focus on how you deal with the incoming, with the situations, the people, the stress, the things that will happen. How do you become more resilient? So basically, yeah, how do you do that? So to the fuse, we have the external triggers, and then you have your internal reactions, responses, and how you think and feel from that. What you do, what you don't do. And between the two, there's always a gap, a fuse. And you want to make that fuse as long as possible, because when the incoming is coming in, you want as much time, energy, clarity, goodness, resilience about you, so that you can choose your own reaction response. A short fuse tends to mean blindly reacting and then later regretting, which we've all done. But I want to show you some ways to lengthen the fuse. And as Viktor Frankl, who was a famous psychotherapist in one of the Nazi concentration camps before his career, he saw that. He saw before the stimulus and our response, there's always a gap. And in that space is your power to choose, always. You can do certain things to make this fuse longer, and I'll show you the things that make it shorter, but you're not naturally any which way. So often people say, well, I'm just naturally snappy, I'm naturally angry, I'm naturally depressed, or whatever. Certainly you have certain foundational skills where you feel more comfortable, but you can change this. You can change, especially the length of your fuse, all right? So, two things that make a short fuse, which means stress, poor reactions, poor choices, feeling like you're out of control. And the first one is exhaustion. And not just physical exhaustion, but mental, emotional. You know how the weight of thinking about something is. It's exhausting. You can't sleep, for example. And that builds up over time. It's not just the days exhaustion, it's the weeks, it's the months, it's the years sometimes, especially when you've been on the go. And that creates overwhelm. Just the sense, the load, whatever it is, feels heavier because you're just that much tighter. The brain loses its ability to think clearly, to process, to react in a way that's like, to have perspective was the word on the front cover. And you know this, if you've got kids, you know it. You put them in just speaking of my kids, putting into bed right now, they're so exhausted, so ratty, but tomorrow morning they're going to be little angels. I just know it because they'll have a good night's sleep. And we're pretty much the same. As adults, we think we're not, but we are. All right. So those two things kind of vicious cycle, because the more overwhelmed you get, the more exhausted you are. So what I say this is, in terms of a short fuse, is an energy problem. It's about managing the amount of energy that you have and the amount of load that you're carrying. And if you're going on a long journey, you want to have lots of fuel, full tanks, and don't carry anything you don't need. Now that's easier said than done, but again, this is why I want to show you some ways of addressing that. You might have seen this on the dashboard, and it's one of my favorite diagrams, really, of explaining how we work best, is that just that what comes in must come out some way. It's better if you can pull the plug. You can lighten the load, you can release, recover the incoming of the day, week, month, year. Now, obviously, the shower head represents life. And sometimes it's a flood of things like the getting married, trying to buy a house, divorce, sickness of yourself or a loved one, car crashes, a long tour of combat, a particularly spicy tour. Many different things can cause a flood that top you up, or just the drip drip of just the daily being alive, of being in London. I spent 3 days in London. I was exhausted, not particularly stressful, but just dealing with a new city, all the people, the thing. So don't underestimate the power of a drip drip. Drip drip can grind you down just as well as anything. Okay. So what we're going to talk about tonight really is how you can pull the plug, how you can, the most effective ways, and I've always like getting into this, but the science that's shown these are the ways that are most effective of recovery, of pulling that plug, of managing your energy levels, so you can think and feel optimally. Now, I know last time there's a few of you who are welfare, and when people, or being father, coaches, mothers, leaders, people will come to you with problems. And so often it's not the problem that's the problem. It's the problem with a full bathtub. They're full to overflowing, so they can't think, they can't even listen clearly. They can't follow through because they're at capacity. So to help them with the problem, find a way of seeing how you can bring the water level down. Now, we will talk about inflow control, how you control the amount of stress, water, pressure, whatever coming in. And there's always a set of taps. Controlling the controllables is one thing. Changing your perception, your attitude is another. Very powerful. Just a quick example with the way my life is set up. Tuesday night is run club. And then the only other real time I have to do that in close proximity is Wednesday morning. So it's not ideal because Wednesday morning I used to whine. My legs were heavy and I don't like this. But then I realized this is what my legs are going to feel like at the end of a long day in the hills. This is what it's going to feel like at the end of a race. What I'm doing here is fatigue training. It's fuel for the fire. It's fuel for the mission, not a negative. Just in the way I looked at it. So anyway, there's various ways you can manage or change your attitude to the incoming. And I think what we'll do is I want to do that next time. As I say, what we're going to do is how to recover fast, how to pull the plug, and the key things that you need to know. Now, these are all basics. I have some sexy things, but it's a process of fairly ordinary things. But they compound by returning to them over and over. That consistent doing makes a much bigger effect over time. Regardless, they're helpful wherever you're at. Now, this whole thing is called the equation that doesn't make sense, because when you're busy, you think, I've just got to keep going. I've got to get to the end of my to-do list and then I can stop. This equation that doesn't make sense is telling you, no, stop. A bit like an athlete knows they stress themselves in training, and then just as essentially is recovery. That recovery allows them to keep training consistently without getting sick or injured, which means they can build something over time. So growth really is a factor of the stress and recovery. Now, a lot of you, some of us, the people who come to you, will have a problem with looking after themselves in this way because they don't feel worthy, acceptable, or even safe when they're not perceived by themselves or others as contributing or doing something or working or getting things done. And this kind of belief level is more of a one-on-one conversation. But if it's you, dig into that. Ask yourself why. Why don't I feel worthy, accepted, safe if I simply stop and rest and fill up my tanks? Why is that? What have I been told? What have I been pushed? Get to the bottom of it. Because this whole, when the water keeps flowing into the bath and you're not pulling out the bath plug, the only way is out over the edge. And that's messy. That kind of burnout is really messy. And some of you have probably been through it and you realize how much longer it takes to pick up the pieces. So hopefully this will help before you get there. But just understand that your worth isn't just in what you do, or the continual doing of what you do. If that makes any sense. Tell me if I'm not. All right. Do you know what I mean? But in our culture, we're told that, our value is in how much we get, how much we do, how much we say yes to everything. Yeah, I'll take it on. Yep, absolutely. I'll help you out too. Boom, boom, boom. And we can do it, but we tend to suffer. Okay. So the basics, the absolute basics of recovery. So there's three for physical energy. Sleep. Told you it wasn't sexy. But sleep is so important. 7 to 8 hours. Get into and maintain really good sleep habits. Now, there's 35 million things you could probably do to improve your sleep. You can ask ChatGPT. I think the Army actually has an excellent sleep training module. Friend of a friend was telling me about her course. But you could ask AI. They will give you all the hints you need to know. Or just look at your sleep right now. You could probably know what your poor habits are and just put an end to some of those. Sleep is one of the major recovery processing tools for anyone, free. But it takes this little mindset shift of recovery is important. Okay? Hydration, nutrition. Don't be clean eating all the time, but the quality of the fuel that going into this biological machine of mind and body affects the quality of the running. It does. It affects the quality of your physicality and the quality of your thinking. Some of us look after our cars so much better than we look after us. And I'm not saying be just a balance, get some more greens, drink a bit more water than you do Monster. I've recently found as I'm getting older, I just can't drink coffee after 10 a.m. My heart, I'm trying to sleep at night, my heart's doing skippity, skippity, skip. I mean, what the heck? I love a coffee, but it's powerful stuff. All right. So just take note. The last thing, social support. Who's your tribe? Who are your people that you connect with? Who are the people that you listen to, that you go to, that you have fun with? And it's not about quantity, it's about quality. So even if you're an introvert, you need a tribe. You need some people. And it's really easy, especially in the winter, to go from the box of your home, get in the box of your car, and go to the box of work and come straight back again. And you don't see anyone else beyond your work circle. Make sure you connect. Now, a couple of hours a week, listening, talking, connecting. And that's why I go to Run Club on a Tuesday night. I never want to go beforehand, but I always feel great afterwards. It was awkward in the beginning because I knew no one, but a few months, you know what, good people, they bring you in. And so I love it now. It's something that's outside my family. All right. So when life is going good, you can mess up one of them, two of them probably, no worries, no problem at all. But when life is tough, when you're in a crisis, all three every single day will go a very long way. Especially if it's a crisis where you're thinking too much, you're emotionally involved, and your sleep is affected. that good food, that social support becomes even better for the physical energy, even better, even more necessary. All right. But those three things, super basic, but so overlooked. Now, to think and feel clearer, there are three things, and you can think of these as helping mental hygiene. The more stressed you are, the more you're going to need more of them. All right. So the first one is gratitude, and everybody knows about gratitude, and it becomes a bit of a yeah. I think all of these basics are yes. And what I mean by yeah is you go, oh yeah. Oh yeah, I should drink more water. Yeah. Oh yeah. I should go to bed a little bit earlier, really, rather than watching that next box set. Oh yeah. I should really just hold off on the beers until Friday night because I'm having a glass of gin every night. Yeah. It's those things that we pay lip service to. But the reason, the science behind gratitude is profound. And 5 and 10 minutes a day, sit with a piece of paper and a pen, not a phone. Pen and paper, there's something about that physical connection that deepens the connection to the gratitude. Find 10 things. With your piece of paper, write down 10 things that you're grateful for. It's not so hard. If you can't get 10, do 5. For one of these, write a short paragraph to deepen the emotional connection. Just a short paragraph about what has happened or what's happening right now and how you feel and why is it good? Why is it right? Why you want to recognize it and bring it forth in this gratitude list. If you can, see if you can feel it. If you can't, it doesn't matter. Just the simple putting it down and this is good. I want to celebrate this or this. I want to recognize that person. Pay attention to the gratitude. It's so important for clear thinking. Because what it's actually doing is counteracting the negativity, the bias that's towards what's wrong, what's broken, what's missing. And that's very easy to fall into. So you're, in a sense, kind of just tapping into something that's much more upward spiraling, balancing that out. Now, gratitude is different from affirmations. Gratitude has happened or is happening. Affirmations might. Gratitude really is shining a light on something that there is. Affirmation can be wishful thinking, so it's easy to dismiss. Super powerful. Gratitude. 5-10 minutes. What a wonderful day to start the day and finish the day. You could bookend. Just to have a little review. What's gone well? What's working? And where am I winning in life at the moment? We can so focus on what's next, what we have to do to do the next thing, that we forget to look back. We forget to look at the bigger picture of our life and go, you know what, this is good. This is awesome. All right? It's a small thing. What I would do as well in conjunction, if you want, is just learn to point out when you're speaking the good things in your life. The glass is always half full or half empty. And that focus, you know those people are half empty people. Oh boy, you don't want to be around them. What's that saying? People could be drains or radiators. Appreciation, gratitude means you become a radiator. It is one of those things that is very, very powerful. That's why it's all over the show. So don't 5-10 minutes. What have you got to lose? Sit down, piece of paper, just a nice celebration of life before you get stuck into the chaos and the mayhem. How we doing so far? All good? Great. Keep firing any notes into the chat. Let me know how you're finding us. Mindfulness, the next thing. Another hot topic, myself included. But it's as little as 11 minutes to 20 minutes. That seems to be a nice period of time to get the benefits. What the mindfulness, the meditation, what it does is it switches off the self-critical brain. It calms you. It takes you from the action mode, even in those outer edges of action mode, the fight, flight, freeze response, survival, the reacting poorly, and puts you in calm, rest, digest, learn, recover, that mode of you. Now, consistent practice goes a long, long way. So 11 minutes done every single day is so much better than 20 minutes done once a week. But if that's all you do, brilliant. You're training your brain to think differently. In combination with the gratitude, it's very, very powerful. Because your brain doesn't work on what's reality. It works on what we tell it. It works on the level of alert in our nervous system. If we are on high alert, then the brain is going to look for so much more threats, danger, what could go wrong, what is going wrong. And you've all been there, that sort of anxious panic when you think, oh, I've got to do so much in there's so little time, or I've made a mistake. So gratitude, mindfulness is learning how, A, to avoid that, and B, when you get in that situation, to be able to reset, to take a step back, to bring the revs down, to take a deep breath and go, oh, okay. When I'm starting to get panicky, anxious, angry like this, everything goes crazy. So I won't. I'm just going to step back a little bit more. Anyway, mindfulness. It's super powerful. 11 minutes. Oh, by the way, it makes 11 minutes. I saw a study on it said 8 minutes was enough to make your brain, the connections and the neurons more flexible, more plastic, so that you can learn easier and have more empathy and a different perspective. A rigid brain is literally, a rigid worldview is literally a rigid brain as well. And mindfulness, what it does is it kind of resets that, allows you to make new connections so much easier, so that you can teach old dogs new tricks. And this is one of the technologies that is the foundation for that, really. Anyway, I'll talk more about mindfulness meditation in a minute. Exercise. 20, and this is for thinking clearly, 20 to 40 minutes, specifically for feeling better, thinking better. And basically, as long as you need until it gets quiet upstairs. Exercise has a wonderful effect of quieting especially that front bit of the brain, the self-critical brain, I must do brain, and putting you in your body, putting you in the moment. It doesn't need to be aggressive exercise, but it can be if you want. If you want to go full on into this, then that might be more your style. But really, what we're talking about exercise here is so you can think and feel better. And I challenge you, even a walk in the countryside the science behind I can't remember the name of the drugs, but the antidepressive drugs and regular exercise, I think regular exercise is twice as effective as the pills. The two in combination, and I'm not dissing the pills, so many people need them and are very effective, but the two in combination are incredibly powerful. But 20 to 40 minutes is all you need to think clearly. So if you're stuck in a problem, if you're in a difficult course, you're learning, remember that. Remember a walk, run up some stairs, get to the gym. 20 minutes is until the brain calms, then you can take some more in. Think of it just like trying to pour water in the sink, and there's something blocking it. Exercises, it kind of just pushes it down a little bit. So glug, 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 actually, more can go in. So normal operation, 1 is probably fine. In a crisis, do at least 2, probably 3, all 3. And look, 5-10 minutes of gratitude, very pleasant, very, very pleasant exercise. 11 to 20 minutes of mindfulness, incredible, actually, when you get into it. And but all these things are very pleasant, but they just take the impetus to get them done. So you know what, in a crisis anyway, do at least 2, maybe probably all 3. Now, if you're on top of your game, you're probably already doing this. But I think knowing that these three things and the three things preceding are the key things. You can hang on to them. You go, oh, okay, well, I will keep doing these things. I will keep ensuring that I stop and do the bits and bobs. If you're not, give some, one, all of them a shot. See what you can do. See what comes. Okay. Gratitude, mindfulness, exercise. Bim, bam, boom. Now, right. That was the basics. Here are the sexy things. Here's where I love it. and it's where the equation really doesn't seem to make sense. What do you mean to tell me, Arjuna, that I will take time out and do these frivolous things and it will mean more quality comes to my life? But yes, I am saying that. This deep, fast release and recovery gives you the ability to do more of more quality, not less. And they are frivolous. I'm talking about, and I'll explain what this is, your primary flow activity, active recovery, and, mini breaks. Anyway, let's get going. Do what you love. Do what you love. Try to get an afternoon a week, at least, of your primary flow activity. What do you mean? What I mean is do something that you love. And I'll explain a little more about that in a minute. But why? Because you get into the state called flow. And flow is an optimal state of being where we feel our best and perform our best. Flow is an optimal state of being where we feel our best and perform our best. Not only gives you more love in your life because you're doing the things that you love, but it resets the nervous system from stress extremely quickly, extremely deeply. And the effects last a day or two. They bleed out into all areas of life. Flow creates more flow. It trains it for everywhere. There we go. It boosts your immune system. It heightens creativity, problem solving. It absolutely gives you a lift to your energy, which is interesting because if your flow activity is something physical, this physical demands actually gives you more energy, not less, because of the nature of the chemicals that are being released. More focus, faster learning. The US Department of Defense found that 250 to 500% quicker learning. 250 to 500% quicker learning when you're in flow. Isn't that cool? They don't mess around, do they? So, do what you love. What is that? These are the things, the activities, the stuff that often get edited out as we become more responsible. That, perhaps we did as kids a lot, but we kind of threw them away. I'm talking about skiing. I'm talking about riding your bike. I'm talking about building huts, going for walks, playing music, reading books, painting, anything you can think of that you just lose yourself and time to. We could do a whole session on flow if you want, but it's incredible. How do you need examples? Do you understand what I'm saying? Put it in the chat if you don't, and I will keep going over. But essentially, those 5 words, do something that you love. If you had a whole weekend, what would you fill it with? Unlimited budget. What, apart from strippers and, excuse me, what would you fill it with? What would you fill it with? Try and get 2 to 6 hours a week. Can be all in one block, so in a weekend, a couple of afternoons a week, maybe 4 1-hour sessions. See what you can do. What do you lose yourself in? When we talk about the work-life balance, I just want more work-life balance. There is no end to work. You have to bring the life bit in. This is the part of the equation that doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. But what brings you to life? Is it modeling? Is it DIY? Is it cooking? Is it history? Is it, I don't know what it is. What is it for you? Am I making sense? Just give me a yep or a nah. And I can go on. The problem will be this: dude, you should be working. Come on. This is not a waste of time. This allows you to be more optimal, have more quality life, get more quality work done. Flow creates more energy, effectiveness, enjoyment. It will give you more of the good things so you can work so much better. So maybe you have to have conversations with significant others. Explain to them, look, this is why I'm doing this because. And maybe they'll just have to take it on faith. But it's well worth exploring. And why not? What did I say? 2 to 6 hours? Why not get a bit of that time? Maybe grab an hour, 2 hours. See what happens. Have a little trial. But flow begets flow. And that benefits lasts, as I said, for 2 days, maybe less, but is incredibly powerful. Okay? Anyway, enough on flow. Active recovery. Recovery isn't just turning off, it's recharging. Think of it as plugging your phone into a charger, not just sticking it in your pocket. To stay resilient, optimal, high performing, you must balance intensity with intentional deep rest. And you are high performers. You're here because you want more from life. You want the best from your life. So treat this seriously. Start treating yourself like an athlete. 2 to 3 times a week, 20 to 40 minutes, because these processes actively recharge, assist your body, your mind, your emotional repair, release processes. That goes a long, long way. And they're kind of fun too. There's so many things you could do, but if you notice, none of them involve a screen. Sorry to say. I'll get into this in a minute, but with the move, take a screenshot maybe, or if you need it afterwards, I can send you a copy. But the low intensity movement, this is for recovery. So we're looking at yoga, stretching, tai chi, walking in nature, walking with your dog, a well-behaved dog, by the way. Another basic, straight up one that we can all do is some kind of temperature therapy. A lot of gyms have saunas. A lot of them are starting to put cold plunges in now and swapping them out. Getting really hot, diving in the cold, getting really hot. Incredible. The science on this, if you can do it regularly, shows that you will increase your lifespan from all the different causes that will do you in significantly just by exposure to a sauna. All the research coming out of Finland and those places where they sometimes have 2 saunas in a home is outrageous. Going for a swim, if you can, at a lake, in a river, in the ocean, combining it with nature is very, very powerful in terms of active recovery. I find I never want to go for a cold swim. I feel incredible afterwards. The dopamine that gets depleted from all the scrolling that you might not be doing, cold water decreases the inflammation and increases the dopamine significantly. Anyway, explore that. Breath work, body work, getting a good massage, having a foam roll. Everyone loves a massage. No one likes to foam roll, but both are great. Walking barefoot, a little bit hippie-ish, but there is some science that's starting to show that we need to be connected. And if you're wearing shoes the whole time, that level of rubber has an impact on physical, mental, emotional health. Anyway, meditation, something called yoga nidra. I've got a couple of meditation and a yoga nidra audios that I can send you the links. Okay. Otherwise, there's an app called Insight Timer, and they have so many for free there. YouTube, blah, blah, blah. Have a little look. Flotation tanks, they're incredible. Basically, this water don't want to scare you. It's like a ginormous coffin filled with water with Epsom salt, so you float completely black, and it's amazing. And then there's all kinds of wild tech, self-hypnosis, HRV, biomagnetic, light up, compression, all the goodies. And all of them work, and some of them work exceptionally. You know, the science is kind of catching up. Quite often with science, the practitioners will be, "Oh, this really works," so they'll be pushing that, and then the science takes years and funding, so it sometimes never catches up. Have at it. Have a good time. Go nuts. Yeah, Neil, Yoga Nidra is awesome. It is mimicking sleep while you're awake. And in fact, a lot of people just fall asleep because they've been burning a candle at both ends, but it is a cool thing. All right, plenty of options. Some pro tips from me. And I've called it a kill switch because it is, especially if you're consistent with it. But you did it on the dashboard, and just have a wide gaze, panoramic vision, the opposite of tunnel, focused, stressed. It's soft and wide. So I'm fixing my eyes on something. I'm just noticing the wall beside me, the window on the other side, the space in front of me, everything there, just gazing off into space. I'm looking more than I'm thinking. And then I take a nice deep breath in through the nose if you can. And then make the exhale as long as possible. Do a couple with me. Breathe in. Long, slow exhale. One. When you're ready, no hurry. The longest exhale you can. Free breath, right? And I challenge you to do those fully and not feel a difference. Everyone get a difference? It flips you from stress state to calm, rest, digest, instant perspective, instant stepping back from the world, the problems, your mind. It does it very quickly. Those two things, wide vision, long exhales. The brain feels you exhaling for 5, 6, 7, 8 count, and it just goes, there's no problem here. He's breathing, she's breathing very well. Amazing. So remember that you can do it any old time, and I suggest you do. Just take a note of your stress levels, and when you feel things are starting to build, just use that to back off. The other pro tip is a stacking. So to save time, just stack it all up. Go for a walk in nature while deep breathing. Add a pet, well-behaved pet, and or a friend. You're using 3 or 4 or 5 different modalities to create something bigger. Walking around the city is one thing. Walking in some green is another thing. Swapping a sauna, cold, and meditation and or breathing. Very, very powerful. There's a breathing technique called Wim Hof. He's a crazy Dutchman. Wim being W-I-M, Hof, H-O-F. And he's famous for the energetic breathing and extreme cold. Very powerful, nice little stack. Or my little favorite is a hot bath, Epsom salts. Epsom salts are incredible for muscles, body generally. A little self-hypnosis or meditation, followed straight to bed. Boom, you'll be out like a light. Especially if you do it consistently, your brain will follow the triggers. It'll go, she's getting ready for her bath. Right. Okay. Yep. No, here comes the tape, the breathing. Right. Boom. The body, the mind loves these habits, these dominoes. Oh, here comes the next one, and this is what we do next. We crash. Right. So beware of fake recovery. And that's what I mean by screens. Unfortunately, it's not another beer and a scroll. Sorry, it's a different thing. It's actually further depletion. So be very careful of your phones. They are not active recovery. Pleasant, but they are not deep, fast, pulling the bath plug out, right? So just so you know that. High stakes TV, thrillers, horrors. And I didn't really think this is a thing, but my wife was watching The Traitors. And for now we know, like the evenings afterwards, she was shivering in bed. She's going, I'm so cold, I'm so cold. And we looked at her stress scores that were preceding that while she's watching The Traitors, and they were through the roof. She was just full of adrenaline watching this TV show. What the heck? And I was talking to a buddy, and it's his wife was the same. And I was like, you check her Garmin. It'll be so it's amazing just the impact it can have without you realizing it. But see how you go. And of course, good old work, emails and messages. Do not be tempted just for a quick check. That will kill your recovery protocol. It will put a complete block and you just have to start again. All right. If you're going to do, and that's a great thing about the sauna, I think, is because you can't take phone it. So don't be tempted. Protect it. If you're going to do some of these things, maybe you do it once a week or twice a week, whatever. It's this precious time. Use it for time, for recovery, for not doing, for just sitting on your butt, going for a gentle walk, for example, having a stretch, not filling your poor brain, your poor emotional body with more stuff. Okay. And the last one, it's less sexy, but a pretty cool thing. After every hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours max, take anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes to reset. And this is active recovery once again. So no screens, no talk about work, just completely go out and do a mini active recovery. Some of those things, a walk, a breathe, a meditate, play with a dog, chat with a friend, not about work. Again, stay out of social media, but maybe you feel, I can't do that. I can't take 15 minutes every 2 hours. What the heck? Try 5, but try literally getting up, walking out. By the way, take a lunch break. Stop, take a lunch break. You need it. Just walk out. Don't fill your brain with anything but gentle, easy, good. Don't fill it with screens. Don't fill it with, I have to do this next. Take this time to switch off. Now, if you cannot do that, slow down. Just slow down. Slow your pace. There's nothing more exhausting than rushing. And you may be fine for a good day or two, a week or two, but it catches up on you. Just the rush, the drip. So slow down. Don't rush everywhere. What I would recommend is take a breath, one of those deep breaths, before the next task, before the next email, before you do the thing, before you get up, before you go to the toilet, before you make your cup of tea, afterwards, is right? Separate it out. So you're getting involved, stepping back, getting involved, stepping back, right? Intensity, switch off, intensity, switch off. And it's actually training your brain to do that quicker. It just goes, oh, I can flick off from a stress state quicker. Okay. So it's training, practicing, right? Cool. All up. Now, here's the full list. I'm not going to tell you the times, but these are important. And they're relatively simple to tick off. Now, look, there's the ideal, and then there's just good enough. Don't look at this list and go, I can't. Look at this list and go, what can I do? What would I like to do? What would almost be a treat to do? Why not? Treat yourself. As I said, treat yourself like an athlete. And at the very least, be very careful with your phone. It's ruining our ability to be resilient. Use it, but don't let it use you. All right? Cool. Have a look at the list. What can I do? What can I do? It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense, but it works. We're not straight lines. You can't keep going. We wave on and off, on and off. As I said before, growth, resilience, capacity, all these buzzwords, they're a factor of moving, stress, doing, being active, plus recovery, plus recovery. Making time for recovery for a few of these things that we're talking about magnifies your ability to deal with stress, your attitude to stress. You'll come to feel the Alcoholics Anonymous, the serenity prayer. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. To a great degree, you'll have more smile for your miles. You'll have that work-life balance because I'm pushing it too hard. I need to back off. You'll see. And perhaps most importantly, you'll feel less regret. Those blind, snappy decisions that we go, or feeling stuck and confused and all that stuff. Now, it's not sexy. Process, they're fairly ordinary things, but they compound, right? They compound. As I said, you're probably doing some of these, if not all of them, but it helps knowing the science says these are the essentials. So keep doing them. So here's a question for you. What are you going to do this week? What one thing will you integrate? Maybe two things. Be careful of trying to do all of them at once. It's much better to build a wall brick by brick, right? Rather than trying to throw up the whole thing at once. One step at a time. Once you get that thing in, that habit, that domino, create the other brick, the other domino. But tell me in the chat, what are you going to do this week? I really would love to know. And of course, any questions? Any questions at all?